Hello everyone. So today we are going to understand about full subtractor using half subtractor. So in the last video we discussed about full subtractor. In that I have explained little bit theory along with Verilog coding, Testbench, and then after we did simulation. So in this video we are designing full subtractor by using half subtractor. In the last video itself I explained how this half subtractor we can use to design full subtractor. So let's see here circuit diagram for full subtractor. So this is the circuit diagram for full subtractor. In this you can easily observe here this part is same as a half subtractor, right? And this part is same as a next half subtractor. So in this full subtractor we can say there are two half subtractor with OR gate and it will give the complete full subtractor, right? Here I will just mark these half subtractors. So here you can see that this red part is half subtractor 1 and this blue part is half subtractor 2. Okay, so let's see here in this first half subtractor. So here we have two inputs A and B and we have outputs diff1 and borrowed 2. Okay, so these are the two outputs for this half subtractor 1. Similarly for this half subtractor 2 we have two inputs, that is diff1 which is coming from this half subtractor 1 and B in, that is our third input. These two are the two inputs, and what are the outputs? D and borrow 1. So this D is same as the full subtractor output. So this D is the full subtractor output also, right? And full subtractor borrow we can get from this borrow 1 and borrow 2 which is passing through this OR gate, then we will get full subtractor borrow. Okay, so how we will get full subtractor difference? That is coming from this half subtractor difference, and for full subtractor borrow we are doing here, we are passing this borrow 1 and borrow 2 which is coming from half subtractor 2 and half subtractor 1 and which are passing through this OR gate, and then after that we will get borrow for our full subtractor. Okay, so here these diff1, borrow 1 and borrow 2, these are wires. We need to declare them as a wires because see this wire, this connection, see this from this XOR gate to next XOR gate. Here this connection is act like a output for this part and input for this part, and it is not storing any result. So that's why we need to declare as a wire. Similarly this connection and this connection, that's why we declare as a wire. Okay, now let's move to the Verilog coding. See, here I wrote half subtractor Verilog module. Here, these things we already discussed in the half subtractor video. So here I already wrote half subtractor module. Okay, you just refer this one. Now we need to instantiate this half subtractor module in the full subtractor. Here. So in this full subtractor we have three inputs, right? A, B and B in, and we have two outputs B and B out. So in this program we are using structural modeling, and in this structural modeling we are instantiating our existing half subtractor module in this full subtractor module. Okay, so how we can instantiate? Let's see this. Our module name is half subtractor. Our module name for half subtractor is HS, so that's why I wrote HS. Then instance name H1. Next, what are the inputs for this half subtractor? A, B. And what are the outputs? See here in this diagram, this is half subtractor 1, right? So what are the outputs for this half subtractor 1? That is diff1 and borrow 2, right? So here first we need to declare them as a wire, this one, diff1, borrow 1 and borrow 2, then only we can use. Okay, so here I declare those connections wire diff1, borrow 1, borrow 2. Okay. Okay, now here we can write them. So what is the borrow for this half subtractor 1? Sorry, what is the difference for this half subtractor 1? That is diff1, and what is the borrow for this half subtractor 1? Borrow 1, right? Okay, next So this half subtractor we instantiate, right? Now next move to this half subtractor. So how we can write? Same HS, that is our module name, and we need to write some different instance name because we are using same half subtractor module 2 times. So that's why we need to write different instance name. Okay. Next, for this half subtractor 2, what are the inputs? Inputs are this diff1 and bin, right? See, you can see here this one and this one, diff1 and bin. Okay. So diff1 comma bin, these are the two inputs. And what are the outputs for this second half subtractor? That is this one, d and borrow 1. Okay. So d comma borrow 1. Okay, here in this half subtractor 1 we did one mistake. Here we wrote borrow 2, but in code we wrote borrow 1, so we need to change here. Okay, so here borrow 2, and for this half subtractor 2, here borrow 1. Okay, see this diagram, just refer this diagram. Okay, next is for OR gate. Or I am writing one instance name O1, and for OR gate, see, for this OR gate, what are the inputs? Borrow 1, borrow 2, and what is the output? B. Okay, so here we are not writing specific code for this OR. We are not writing any module for this OR, right? Because it's already there in that libraries. Okay, so in this OR libraries, first we need to write output, then input. It's by default. Okay, first we need to write output, then inputs. So here, what is the output? That is B. So see, here in the diagram I wrote B, but here in this module we wrote B out. Okay, so we need to write this one, B out. So our output is B out for this OR. And what are the inputs? This one, borrow 1 and borrow 2. So borrow 1 comma borrow 2. Okay, so this is all about Verilog code for this full subtractor using half subtractor. Okay, so here either you can write Testbench separately, which I already explained in the last video. Testbench for this full subtractor, you can use that same full subtractor Testbench, but here I am not writing full subtractor. I will just give the specific inputs and I will check this one. Okay, save this one. Let's go to the simulation part. Run simulation. Okay, so here I will give specific inputs and inputs, and I will check the outputs. Okay, so here for A I will keep for constant value 1, for B 1, and for B in 1. Okay, now I have assigned this 1 1 1. Now let's check it. Okay, so for A, B and B in, our difference is 1 and borrow is 1, right? So we already discussed in the last video truth table for this full subtractor, right? For 1 1 1 case it is coming 1 1, right? Similarly we will check another case for value A is, if I will keep 1, B is 1, and then B in is 0. For 1 1 0, see here, for 1 1 0 case we are getting D and B out, difference in borrow 0 0, right? So we check these two possibilities and we got the expected result, right? So if you want, you can check all cases, or else you can just write the Testbench, and in that you just mention all those cases and you can simulate this one. Okay, so we will see few more questions in the upcoming videos. Till that, thank you.